In today's video, I'll show you some of the best places we visited during a recent 7-day Caribbean cruise on my new favorite cruise ship, Sun Princess. I'll show you some unique things about this ship. I'll talk about the many different entertainment venues they have on board, show you some of the things we ate, including the best cruise ship pizza I've ever had. Plus, I'll share what I learned that has saved us thousands of dollars on our next version of this same cruise. Our cruise began in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and this is a time-lapse video of our departure from Terminal 2 of the Port Everglades cruise port. Something that surprised me about the boarding process for Sun Princess at Port Everglades was that there were no assigned boarding times. You could show up anytime you wanted to, but that didn't mean you could board anytime you wanted to. My advice, if you'll be cruising on Sun Princess out of Port Everglades, is to arrive at the terminal at about 11 a.m. for a quick and easy boarding process. Right about this point, we got to hear the ship's horn play the Love Boat theme as we headed out to sea. At lunchtime, I tried the pizza on the promenade on Deck 9, which I ended up not liking at all because they don't put any sauce on top of their pizza dough at this location. Weird, huh? We decided to have a fancy dinner tonight at Crown Grill, the steakhouse. We enjoyed the food, but the service was bad. After we finished our entrees, it was a full 25 minutes before our waiter came back and took our dessert orders. After dinner, we just wanted to walk around and explore the ship a bit. When we got to the piazza, which is basically the ship's atrium, we stopped for a while to listen to Dr. Sax, who we really enjoyed listening to. The next day, my wife and I started the morning just like we do when we're at home, burning off some calories. She does an hour on an exercise bike, while I do an hour on a treadmill. Then, after a good shower, we had breakfast at the Eatery, which is the buffet restaurant on Sun Princess. Today, our ship was anchored just offshore of Princess Cays, the cruise line's private island in the Bahamas. We rode one of the tenders ashore and then settled in at the private bungalow we had rented for the day. In front of the bungalow were 2 loungers that we spent much of the day in. There's an outdoor shower to help rinse any sand off. Inside the air-conditioned bungalow, there is a table and chairs, and within about a 1 or 2 minute walk was a nice buffet lunch. Plus, the drink package from the ship is good here on the island, so we spent most of the day relaxing in the sun and enjoying drinks at no extra charge. Renting the bungalow was a real bargain, too, at only $230. Let's compare that to the outrageous prices we saw on Royal Caribbean's Icon of the Seas. To rent a bungalow on Royal Caribbean's private island, the least expensive was $1,500, and they went up as high as almost $3,800. That's just highway robbery. Our next day was a sea day, as Sun Princess sailed south from the Bahamas to get us into the Caribbean. For breakfast, we decided to try the Americana Diner, which we didn't like at all. It was just weird. We would have been way better off to just have breakfast in the Eatery. My wife asked for gluten-free toast, and this is what they gave her. That's ridiculous. Look at that. Is that just a crumbled-up gluten-free hamburger bun? Now, lunch was awesome. I finally found the good pizza on Sun Princess. It's up on the Lido deck by the main pool. This is basically New York-style pizza, but they normally slice it fairly narrow. I asked for a wide slice so that I could fold it over in true New York style. Now, my wife loved the tacos that are served up on Lido deck. And for quite a few days during the rest of the cruise, we were as happy as could be at lunchtime, she with her tacos and me with my New York-style pizza. They also have a place up on Lido deck that serves burgers and fries. The fries were excellent, but I've been so spoiled by Guy's Burger Joint on Carnival that the burgers on Sun Princess were just okay, but not in Guy's league. It's time for a Sun Princess pop quiz. What's the difference between a balcony cabin and a mini-suite? Is a mini-suite the same as a sanctuary mini-suite? What's the least expensive cabin that includes access to the Sanctuary Club? If you don't know the answers yourself when you go to book a cruise on Sun Princess, you're going to want the expertise of a travel agent. Feel free to use mine. She's really good. Caitlin Gallagher, the owner of Ambrin Travel. Since my wife and I were staying in a signature suite this week, we had full access to the exclusive Sanctuary Club up on the top deck. This is a place that most of the ship's 4,000 passengers do not have access to, so it's very uncrowded. We never had trouble finding a lounger or a daybed to relax on, even on a sea day. It's quiet here in the Sanctuary Club, too. There's no loud music playing, and most importantly, no kids. By comparison, here's the situation on Lido deck, where the families with kids like to hang out. There's a lot more noise between the kids and the music. I was delightfully surprised at how warm they keep the water in the pools and the hot tubs on Sun Princess. I take a pool thermometer with me on vacation so I can get an accurate measurement, and the two swimming pools here on Lido deck were both at 88 degrees, and surprisingly, the hot tub water was at 105 degrees. If you want to avoid the kids, but you don't have access to the Sanctuary Club, a great alternative is this infinity pool with a great view of the ship's wake. This pool is fairly well hidden down on Deck 8 at the far back end of the ship. I suspect a lot of passengers on Sun Princess never even find this pool. There's a wild optical illusion when you look at the people standing in the pool. Notice the lady in the red swimsuit, how her head seems disconnected from her body. Or the lady with the hat in this shot. And if you wait a few seconds here, it happens again with those two guys on the left. It's kind of funny to watch. By the way, the water in this aft pool was a wonderful 94 degrees. The hot tub water was 104. And this whole area down low on Deck 8 at the back of the ship is pretty nicely wind-blocked by the structure of the ship. It's quite a contrast to the forward pool, the one that flows into the dome. This is up at the front of the ship, up on top, which is the windiest place you could ever be when a ship is sailing. The ship's designers tried to block the wind with these glass panels, but the way they designed it was horrible. It doesn't effectively block the wind at all, because they left such huge gaps between the glass panels. That doesn't block the wind well at all. They should have done what Royal Caribbean did with their Quantum-class ships, which was to fully enclose the front of the ship in glass, creating a wonderful, relaxing, air-conditioned space inside under the glass. Now, they do have a dome on Sun Princess just behind that area with the glass panels that have the big openings between them, and inside the dome, it's a nice place to get out of the wind on a sea day. They had a solo musician playing soft music here during the day. Later that night, we caught a show in the Princess Arena that we really enjoyed. This gentleman's name is Lou Gazzara. In 2003, when he was 17 years old, Lou competed on Season 2 of American Idol. That was the year Ruben Studdard won, and Clay Aiken was the runner-up. Lou put on a really nice show for us in the arena on Sun Princess. Here's a time-lapse video of our arrival at San Juan, Puerto Rico. That fort guarding the entrance to the harbor is known as El Morro, and it's fascinating to explore if you ever find yourself in San Juan. As we make our turn to the left to make our way to where we'll be docking, you can see a couple of other cruise ships had already arrived. The one that will be on our left used to be a Royal Caribbean ship. Now it's sailing for a British cruise line. And on our right, out of view now, is Virgin's Scarlet Lady. While most Sun Princess passengers went ashore in San Juan, we spent the morning soaking up the sun in the Sanctuary Club. But we did briefly go ashore at lunchtime because one of our favorite restaurants in the whole world, Tijuana's Mexican restaurant, is right here where the cruise ships dock in San Juan. And every time we come here, we have the same thing because these steak fajitas are so ridiculously good. Give them a try if you're ever in San Juan. That evening, an illusionist was performing in the piazza. And later that night, there was a fantastic comedian, Kiwi Rogers, performing in the lounge that's known as Princess Live. Kiwi, who is also a TV and movie actor, did one of the best stand-up comedy shows I've ever seen on a cruise ship. The next morning, this was the beautiful view from my balcony as the sun was rising and our ship was making her way towards our next destination, the island of St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands. I just set up a GoPro on the railing of our balcony and let it shoot this time-lapse video while we went and had a nice breakfast. In the distance, you can see another cruise ship, I think it was a Holland America ship, and she's sailing a straight line directly to the harbor entrance. In a few moments, we'll be making a left turn to pull in right behind her. Look carefully and you'll see a small boat going very fast, heading right towards us. That boat is bringing out a harbor pilot who will quickly jump aboard our ship, and then that little boat speeds off and heads back into the harbor, while the pilot he dropped off makes his way up to our navigational bridge to assist our captain. I've sped this up even more now because in real life the ship has slowed down quite a bit to very carefully thread the needle through the deep part of this entrance to the harbor. There's a very narrow part of the channel that is deep enough for cruise ships to enter the harbor. The harbor pilot knows best how to take the winds and the currents into account and keep our ship from pulling a Costa Concordia. We're going to do a fun little maneuver here. We've actually gone just a little past the dock now so that the ship can back into it. And as we do that, you might be able to see another cruise ship way out on the horizon. She'll be the next one to come in, bringing even more cruise ship tourists to St. Thomas for the day. From St. Thomas, we took a really great excursion on a catamaran that would take us over to the neighboring island of St. John for some snorkeling and some time on the beach. The ocean water temperature here at St. John was 81 degrees, and this was February. This excursion is called the St. John Champagne Catamaran Sail and Snorkel. My wife and I have done this excursion several different times on previous cruises. We just love it, and I'm sure that this will not be the last time we'll do it. Sailing on the catamaran, the weather here, the snorkeling, the free-flowing champagne, it's always a great excursion. That evening, back aboard the ship, in the piazza, they had a Back to the 80s party, which was a lot of fun. I was a DJ back in the 1970s and 1980s, so they were playing my music. And during the 80s party on Sun Princess, I kept thinking about an old picture from the 1980s that's in one of our family photo albums. This is my mom, back in 1982, on the gangway of the Love Boat. Later that evening, we enjoyed more stand-up comedy. This was Carlos Oscar, the second of two comedians that they had on board this week. The next 2 days were sea days as our ship made its way back to Fort Lauderdale. We spent a lot of that time relaxing in the Sanctuary Club. We did also take advantage of one of the self-service laundry rooms. There are quite a few of them on various different levels of the Sun Princess. We thought it would be interesting to have lunch at the special restaurant for Sanctuary guests and to compare a couple of their casual lunch entrees to what we've been eating on Lido Deck. So my wife had the fish tacos and I had a burger. Surprisingly, we both actually preferred the ones out on Lido Deck. Musician Janice Martin put on a nice show in the Piazza on our last night, and Lou Gazzara, who we had seen in the Princess Arena earlier in the week, joined her for a couple of songs. Before I wrap this up, I want to just say that my wife and I had a really great cruise on Sun Princess, and I'd have to say that it's now our new favorite cruise ship. And that's saying a lot, considering that this was the 69th cruise that I've been on. This cruise was very comparable to cruising in the Haven on Norwegian Cruise Line, another favorite of ours. But even though we booked a really nice signature suite with full access to the Sanctuary Club, the Signature Lounge, and the Sanctuary Restaurant, this cruise came in at a much lower price than a cruise in the Haven would have. But the most important thing I've learned from this whole experience is that next year, when I cruise on the new sister ship to Sun Princess, rather than booking a signature suite again, I'm going to save over $2,000 by booking a Sanctuary mini suite instead. Believe it or not, a Sanctuary mini suite is not smaller than the signature suite we were in this week. They're the exact same size and layout. What's mini about a Sanctuary mini suite is what you have access to. You don't have access to the Sanctuary Lounge, bar, and concierge. Plus, you miss a few little perks, like getting your refrigerator stocked by your cabin steward. But you do have full access to the best part of the Sanctuary, which is the Sanctuary Club up on the top deck, with all the loungers and day beds, the swimming pool, the hot tub, the bar, and the servers roaming around eager to bring you a drink. So I'm willing to give up a few things to save a couple of $1,000s, as long as I still have access to the Sanctuary Club. Now, if you don't need the extra storage and extra space of a mini suite, you can save even more by booking a Sanctuary balcony cabin. That's the least expensive cabin that comes with access to the Sanctuary Club. But the whole topic of the differences between each type of cabin and what perks come with each category is really confusing. And that's why you need a travel agent to help you get it right when you book a cruise on Princess. So there you have it. That's the story on Sun Princess. If you like travel videos like this, subscribe to my channel. I've got 3 more cruises booked for the next 12 months. If you subscribe and click the bell icon to turn notifications on, YouTube will give you a heads up when I release a new video. I'm Jim Zim. Thanks for watching.